You're in the yellow.
I know that Colonial Williamsburg has made this as historically accurate as possible, but I'm just wondering if you ever run into people who accuse you of allowing yourselves to be stereotyped or, that sort of thing in reenacting a history like this.
So the question is, Colonial Williamsburg has gone far to make things historically accurate, but did you as the actors ever run into a situation where you are being accused by other people of being playing the stereotypes?
It's usually the other way around. When we run into people, they're usually coming up to us going, oh, and things like that, I will forever play the native in the loincloth, carrying a bow and arrow, just because that's who I am. I'm proud to represent the Shawnee. I'm proud to come in here and to be a part of something that is teaching people teaching people the truth. So sometimes it gets a little gaining and just accurately depicting who I am and separating myself from my character. But as far as the challenge of interpreting it to the people, no, it's a wonderful thing, and I will always do it.
I'm not sure it could be a stereotype. Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
I don't know if it could be a stereotype if it's portrayed accurately.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying, are you accused of it?
Yeah, well, we like Mike said, we get the usually younger kids that will see us walking around doing this stuff. I've gone up to them a few times and said, listen, you probably saw that in the movies back in, growing up or something, or our cartoon, but we actually never did that. So we correct them and we let them know that that's inaccurate. We never did the woo-woo-woos. And that's the way I handle it.
Comes from Bugs Bunny.
I think it does, actually.
I was just working with
Peter Pan.
yeah, the Tiger and Lily Princess. I think doing script work, one of the challenges we have is we have a population here that has an expectation of what Native people say, look like, do. We also have Indian people with a perspective of what the way in which people should behave and interact. And we have to find some common ground, because if we did this whole program in Shawnee, you guys wouldn't understand anything that was happening, right? So we got to switch into English. We have to condense some concepts that these guys understand, but not everybody in the audience understands. So we have to recognize that our audience is not American Indian, which is interesting to do public history. We bring Indian people in. It's like the relationship of the numbers of the population in the U.S. It's like 1%, 2% of CW's population, at least that come as our audience members, are American Indian. How about down here in the front?
Mm-hmm.
So she's asking, yesterday she saw War Party. It was the first time it's a soft opening of that scene, meaning that we didn't advertise it or make we just had it included in the regular programming. And in that scene, Daniel Boone is a captive of the Shawnee. And you want to know, was he executed or was he released? Do you guys know the answer?
That would be a Buckwood or...
That would be a no. He was adopted into the tribe. He was adopted as a brother, I believe, so that to Blackfish and his family.
Yeah, he was made a part of the Shawnee for a period of time, but he eventually left, went back to Kentucky. So in that scene, we've condensed some history. There was raiding in the Ohios that winter that captured women, children, men. Daniel Boone was one of 30 men that were captured on the siege of Boonesboro. So we collapsed history to have him part of that captive dialogue.
Yes, like a long time ago, it was, thought more of an honorable thing to have the person be a part of your life in order than to stamp out their being. It's like the term counting coup. I don't know how many of you have heard that. Is a term that has been a bit misconceptualized over the years. Counting coup does not mean killing your enemy. Counting coup is what happened to Boone and everybody, is thought more honorable to be close enough to touch your enemy during battle, and you go then to actually take their life. And so counting coup was a way of collecting honor, so to speak, and bringing it back to your people, to your family. And that's like me being Lakota, we would go home and tell our war stories and receive an eagle feather. And hence that's where the war bonnets come from, or the shirt wearers, or we receive those things. And so yeah, to answer your question, yeah, Daniel Boone was brought into the people, and it was thought more to learn from other people and from other tribes, other peoples, and so they brought in and welcomed knowledge, welcomed love.
They respected him as a great hunter, as was said in the production. Yes, sir.
Innocent question, I hope. The term of the word Scioto, is that a people or a place?
Okay, he's asking about Scioto.
What does that mean?
Yes, good question. Don?
River.
River?
Yeah, Scioto River, and it's they were camped along the banks of the Scioto River.
A long time ago, it's actually a congregation place in southern Ohio where a lot of peoples used to meet. Not only the Shawnee, but all the natives in the area would come together, and they would have a type of a making of relatives ceremony, or a place that everybody could meet, just because that's where natural resources brought people at the time. And it was frowned upon to marry within your own tribe, just because it was inbreeding and you keep the bloodlines clean, things like that. So the Scioto Valley was a place where all the people could get together, and that's kind of where the modern day powwow comes from, where you have people from everywhere come together to celebrate life and to share their culture and to just be happy, dance and sing.
That's the place.
The actual place, so when the Shawnee are here in town for that almost a year in 74, 75, they are so far from Scioto, which is out in the Ohio's. And as the war raged, and then later after the American Revolution, the war in the Ohio really keeps going. The American Revolution doesn't have an end date in the Ohio Valley. The Shawnee territories begin to recede to the Muskegon and go back farther to the Wabash and the Maumee and the Great Little Maumee River.
Edamame?
Edamame. Maumee. Maumee, M-A-U-M-E, also called the Miami.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, he says he's been coming here 45 years. Family, pleasantly surprised to see the American Indian focus emerge in 2011 as part of the American Revolution from 1776 in terms of public history. How did that happen? I think the Foundation's been interested in this narrative, and really unsure about how to go forward in producing it. In the 1990s, there was a few stumbling blocks. They invited, I can give you the short answer. We're in Virginia. Today, Virginia is a very different landscape than it was 200 years ago. Today, Virginia's boundaries politically and geographically are different. In the 18th century, West Virginia, portions of North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Western Pennsylvania, Southern Michigan, Southern Minnesota, Illinois, that's all Virginia in the 18th century, at least from the British perspective. This is the capital of that very large territory. So all the native peoples that were in that region at that time were considered Virginia's Indians. And they should come here to politic and do diplomacy if they want to do with the crown. Today, much smaller geography. So when the Foundation started thinking about doing the projects here, they looked to their Virginia Indians, the local population. Pamunkey, that live about 20 or 30 miles from here, have a small Indian town. Mattaponi, just 10 miles across the river from them. Those are Pocahontas' people of Powhatan, people of Jamestown, which is also not far from here. But by the time we're in the Revolution, almost 170 years later, Pocahontas' people, they're not coming in large numbers as diplomats and warriors to this town. They're working. They're in the colonial society. They're carrying geese to the governor's mansion to sell to the kitchen. They're selling pots and pans made of earthenware to the taverns. They're dressed, as one period visitor says, as the lower sort. They're wearing European clothing. They're easily mistaken as the rest of the population. Unlike, say, the Cherokee, who put 200 warriors on the ground during the French and Indian War, the Catawba that are here in the hundreds of warriors. So the foundation had to kind of get in their mindset that we were going to do business in Indian country. They're going to have to look out to their historic peoples who were here and realize that they are today very far removed from this location. In order to do that, I really want to say that they started thinking about cultural anthropologists. Go out and do the field work. Go out and do the field work. Work with the community. Start talking about why things are the way they are today based on the history that unfolded, how communities have changed, how they're not static. And if you went to some communities today and wanted to hire an American Indian, Indian people don't look the same anymore. Right? They've intermarried, other races, other groups. So if you want to get a look, we had to look for communities that have experienced less colonialism, say maybe only 150 years. These two guys come from the Northern Plains. In the Northern Plains, that war just ended. It's like that close. 1890, last Plains military event, 1890. It's just, my great-grandma was born in the 1890s. It's just not that long ago. Big difference. Big difference. So that's a complicated question, and it requires a lot of resources and people behind the scene, people in front of the camera, communities coming in. So we have a lot. We have a lot farther to go. It's 30 years since the African American program started.